Today's news.
Trump's National Guard deployment. They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out. Working the details of a Gaza peace deal.
The logistics and the mechanics.
No end to government shutdown.
Anybody laid off, that's because of the Democrats.
Good morning, I'm Steve Kathan. With the CBS World News Roundup, a federal judge has blocked President Trump from sending troops to Portland, Oregon from any state. They are being sent to Chicago, where there have been stepped-up immigration raids. CBS's Ashar Qureshi.
Protests against immigration and customs enforcement turned ugly in and around Chicago over the weekend. As people faced off with law enforcement, and tension at times boiled over into physical altercations following days of ICE raids and counter-demonstrations.
Acts of violence are occurring on a regular basis.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on Sunday called Chicago a war zone. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat, said federal agents were to blame.
They want mayhem on the ground. They want to create the war zone so that they can send in even more troops.
When asked about his plan to deploy hundreds of Illinois National Guard troops in the Windy City, President Trump cited violent crime.
People shot and killed. And Pritzker gets up and says what a wonderful place it is.
Anti-ICE protesters also hit the streets in Portland, Oregon over the weekend, where they faced off last night with federal officers in front of the ICE headquarters after a Trump-appointed federal judge temporarily barred the president from deploying any National Guard troops.
This morning, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected the appeal from Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, coming on day one of a fall term. CBS's Jan Crawford.
The justices will decide some of the most controversial and consequential issues in society, all of which will have enormous consequences for everyday life. You've got gun rights, the constitutionality of a key section of the Voting Rights Act, campaign finance reform, as well as the Trump cases. And they'll continue adding cases as the term progresses.
Overseas, correspondent Deborah Patta has the latest on efforts to strike an elusive Gaza peace deal and bring the remaining hostages home to Israel.
President Trump was putting huge pressure on both Israel and Hamas to end the war and seal the deal. Logistics around a hostage prisoner swap are being thrashed out in Egypt. That might just be the easiest part. There are many sticking points that could upend the deal. Hamas has made no mention of disarmament, a key Israeli demand. And many Israelis believe the danger lies within Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's ruling coalition, where his right-wing allies have threatened to collapse his government if Hamas is not destroyed.
Now to Virginia,
Oh, yeah, Navy!
where the First Lady joined President Trump to mark the Navy's 250th anniversary.
I'm supporting the across-the-board pay raises for every sailor and service member of the United States Armed Forces. But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens.
That political swipe by the president comes as the government shutdown drags on. 40% in a new CBS News poll blame President Trump. 30% blame Democrats. White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
Democratic lawmakers say they won't vote to fully reopen the government until there's an agreement to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies. They don't expire until the end of the year, so Republicans say there's still time.
We're not saying that we won't negotiate it. We're saying turn the lights back on in Congress.
But Democrats argue now is the time.
The crisis doesn't start in January. Starting October 1st, millions of Americans are getting notices that their health care premiums are dramatically increasing.
A KFF analysis finds premiums for those on Obamacare would more than double on average if subsidies run out. And 80% of those subsidies are going to people in states Trump won.
Correspondent Scott McFarland has the latest on former NFL quarterback and broadcaster Mark Sanchez, who's charged after a violent encounter that left him in the hospital.
Former New York Jets quarterback and Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez faces misdemeanor criminal charges following what prosecutors are calling an altercation with a truck driver in Indianapolis early Saturday morning. According to an affidavit obtained by CBS News, the 69-year-old driver, identified only as PT, told police while he was at a loading dock working, he was approached by Sanchez, who tried to stop what he was doing. Then he said Sanchez began harassing him and physically attacked him. Allegedly fearing for his life, the driver said he stabbed Sanchez multiple times. The driver